Welcome to another episode of UC R&D Reviews. So today I have a figure from the MSV line. This is the MS-06F Zaku Minelayer version anime. So we'll go ahead and get this embarrassing part out of the way. The Zaku Minelayer came out February of 2018 and it retailed for about $49 and change. I, buying it now in 2022, paid $60 and change. I put off buying this Zaku for the longest time because it was pretty cheap. You could find it for about $40 pretty easily. And I put it off for so long that now it's not easy to find at all. And I waited until I found it for a decent deal, which I think $60 was a decent deal, and finally picked it up. So this is the Minelayer. So it's basically a Zaku II F-type with a different backpack. And we have seen a figure of it. The Zaku, or Char's Zaku II second version, comes with this backpack. So technically you could just put it on your Zaku II second version and you have a Minelayer Zaku. That was back in the MSiA line. But now we have an updated version with the proper original model kit coloring and a proper head sculpt. So let's check it out. So the Minelayer Zaku is a pretty neat set because the base figure is just a Zaku II. So it's been a little while since I've done the articulation on the Zaku II, so we can go ahead and take a look at it. Head goes down about that far, up pretty far, and then a full 360 all the way around. Top of the head is removable, so you can move the mono eye in either direction. We have, and there's another gimmick with the head, which we'll take a look at in a little bit. You have a bit of chest flex, so decent range there. The shoulders will come out. The arms will come up about that far on either side. Both sets of shoulder armor are movable, so this side is just jointed. It'll come out a little bit, and then the shield is multi-jointed and can rotate around. Has a hard point on the front here for effect parts. The waist will come down about that far, back a little bit, and not a whole lot of side to side. So I guess a decent amount. The back of the Zaku here, you can see it's the Char's Zaku sculpt. So you have effect part compatible verniers on the top and bottom. You have weapon storage on either side, magazine storage, bazooka storage, and storage for the heat hawk on either set of skirt armor. The arms are ball jointed at the shoulder. There's a rotating joint up here. There's also a rotating joint under the elbow, or below the elbow, and then you have pretty good range of elbow articulation. You have an effect part, hard point here on the arm for like an explosion effect, and you have double ball jointed wrists. They don't have a great range of movement, but at least they move around. The skirt armor is ball jointed here and hinged here, and comes up quite a bit. You have the weird hip version anime rotating leg articulation. The legs will come up about that far before they'll pop off, and you do have some thigh swivel, although the armor kind of gets in the way a little bit. And then you have really good knee articulation, so it can do quite a bit. You have a hard point for missile pods, and again this is the Char's Zaku sculpt, so you have the little thrusters on the legs, and for the feet they'll come down about that far. They'll come up with toe articulation, and then they'll do a little bit of side to side, but not much. But that's not why we're here. We're here to look at the Minelayer Zaku. So let's look at the accessories and make this thing into a true Minelayer. So you actually get quite a bit in this set. First things first, you get the hand rack, two different sets of opposing hands, gun hands, and heat hawk hands, so standard amount of hands there. You do get the 280mm Zaku bazooka, which we've all seen before. Has the movable grip, the rotating front handle, and the rotating camera, and it is effect part compatible. You do get the deployed heat hawk, which we've seen before, the stored version of the heat hawk, and the Zaku machine gun with the movable front handle, removable magazine, and is effect part compatible as well. You get storage for the bazooka on either side of the backpack and on the back of the skirt armor as well. And you get a commander type head, which actually looks really good. I like using the commander type heads on the Zakus, and it just kind of pops right on there. And you have a replacement antenna in case something happens to this one. However, why we're here in the first place is actually for this big old thing. This is the Minelayer backpack. So the mines are stored up in there and they'll pop out. You do have two different thrusters here that don't feel like they're movable, but they are effect part compatible. And then you have two here, same thing, they don't appear to be movable but are effect part compatible. And this thing just attaches to the backpack. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So it just snaps right into place, and there is two pieces that we need to attach here. So there's this little panel that I believe, yeah, it just pegs right down in there. And then we have the antenna, which pegs onto the other side. You do get a replacement antenna just in case something happens. And then lastly here, what we're actually going to do is remove the head completely. And I'm going to take off the commander antenna here and put the regular head back on here. And then you'll actually take the cable off of the mouth. So this is a new sculpt technically because you're able to do that. And then from here you're going to connect it into the mouthpiece, and it's rubber, so it's going to take a little bit of finessing, and then this rear portion will just hook right up in there, and then we'll reattach the head like so, and then this cable will go down into this panel here. Let me get these pieces off so we can just kind of wedge it in there. Let me do it off camera real quick. I don't want to break anything. There we go. So you kind of had to get it in there at an angle, and it'll sit. It has a little bit of room to move around. So the Minelayer Zaku, the true head on it, which we didn't get with the MSiA version, actually has the cable go to the backpack. So it looks pretty good. I think this is a nice looking accessory here. And there's also some more stuff you can do with it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the mines themselves. So you get these two little mines for posing. You get one for each side, and you can see one side's hollow and the other one's round. So you want the hollow side facing the backpack. So it has these two little legs on them, and this kind of fits in sideways, and then you just turn them very carefully, possibly, there we go, and you turn them and slide them down, and it looks like they're rolling out of the mine rack. You also get this piece, which is pretty cool, and this is like a clear stand piece, and you have two mines there, and you'll attach this into there, and then you'll need your stand connection here, which is at the bottom. If I can actually grab it, there we go. So here's everything assembled. You have the little stand for the mines here, and then you have the Zaku on the stand. It looks okay. So what they intend in the instructions is when you buy these Tamashi stands, they come with extension pieces for the figures. You'd actually take one of those extension pieces and put it here, raising this a bit, getting it closer to the Zaku, and I have no idea where those pieces are for mine, so this is what it'll look like out of the box. Or if you have these stands here, you can extend it a little bit, get it higher. But that's how it looks, which is pretty cool. And then going back to what this comes with, we do have two thruster effect parts with these slanted pegs, which look pretty good. And we have an explosion effect, which we've seen before. We have a Zaku machine gun firing effect, which is really nice. These are not included in most figures. And the big ol' bazooka effect. So quite a bit of effect parts for this Zaku, which is pretty nice. So I wanted to do a comparison for my cool Zaku with the backpack, and I chose another cool Zaku with the backpack, and that is the standard Zaku II figure with the coolant tank backpack from the Principality of Zeon weapon set. So the only really interesting thing about either of these figures is the backpacks, so we'll go ahead and show those. So the coolant tank Zaku has this neat looking modular backpack. If you want to see the review for the Zaku or the weapon set, they're linked down below in the description. And then you have the more complicated looking Minelayer backpack. So two really neat Zaku figures. I'm glad I was able to find a purpose for my regular Zaku II figure ever since I bought the real marking version, and now I have the Minelayer to go with it. So the Zaku Minelayer, I think it's worth the price that I paid. It comes with a lot of accessories. It comes with several effect parts. It's modular. You can have it as a Zaku II, or you can have it as the Minelayer Zaku, which is pretty nice. It uses the Char Zaku, the S-type sculpt, even though it's an F-type, but you know, it doesn't bother me all that much. One thing I would have changed would have been to have just a completely separate head instead of doing the whole cable swap thing, just so that you have a better sculpt to it. The cable that you get with it is rubber, right? So it just makes it more malleable, but it also doesn't look as good as the hard plastic. So that'd really be the only thing I change. I think the price I paid for it is worth it. I think would have been way more worth it had I bought it a while back, but I am just glad to have it. So let me know if you got this one or if you're looking for it. And thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.